Glory be to Jesus Christ. You know, this is a strange parable. Especially this parable is strange because actually in this translation we do not hear the exact amount of money that was owed. And Jesus in the Gospel according to Matthew is putting exactly those amounts in order to show what it does mean to owe something to someone. Because the first official servant, he owed his master 10,000 talents. So I made some researches. According to the current price of gold, it should be around 25 billion of dollars. And you know, in this age, 25 billion of dollars is almost nothing, because the capitalization of Microsoft is right now close to trillion. And Apple was over trillion. So, and to lose money, it's not a problem now. You know, to lose 25 billion of dollars, it's like happened from one day to another. Just remember Goldman Sachs, what do you call? Yeah, this whole thing that started 2008 with debt in United States and then went all over the world. This 25 billion of dollars is nothing. Why? Because we live in the age when money are virtual. You don't really see what you spend, you don't really see what you own. It's all somewhere. It's a value that you never have in your hands. But those days when Jesus was telling this parable were different. They knew what money is. The money was not virtual, it was always present. And just imagine, 10,000 talents. I also tried to kind of explain that in the visible way. This is around 100 Indian elephants made out of gold. Just imagine 100 Indian, because African elephants are a little bit bigger. It would be 72 or 73 of them, but exact 100 Indian elephants made out of gold, put it on Sanford Street here. So try to make that kind of debt in your life back then. This is impossible. So maybe Jesus is exaggerating this whole story. Who could owe someone 10,000 talents? Nobody at that time even had maybe such amount of money. There was no king who could put 100 golden elephants and show up, I have that. A huge amount of money. And maybe Jesus is just trying to say to all of his listeners that one man became everything from his master. There was nothing in his life that he could say, this is mine. Everything. And not just he, but everything before him and after him. Everything he owed to his master. And this is clear, kind of, because we hear at the end of this parable that this is the story about relationship between God and humans. We owe him everything. We would say, what and when God gave me something. You know, most of the people in this world, in almost every place in the world, would tell us that they never saw God giving them money or issuing a check or signing a check for them or bringing a new car or anything like that. But there is a simple truth, and I told you about that 2 weeks ago. We have everything from him because we have our life from him. There's no other who gave us that life through our parents, through all the predecessors, than he who created us in love. So it doesn't matter what we have in this life, we have out of his love. And actually, this is not much a debt. This is a gift. We have another time when Jesus is telling about talents. And when this is the story when this same maybe king is giving to his servants 5, 3, and 1 talent. And therefore, actually, in many languages, I think also in English, the word talent is synonymous with gift. You are gifted with something. You have some talents. You can sing, you can play, you can do whatever. But this is a talent. It means also that this is a gift from someone. This is not you just. So the story of this first servant who owed to his master 100 golden elephants is a story of us who owing to God everything. And maybe we become a little bit more scared when we listen to what happened to that servant. Because how can you repay for everything you have in your life? Just with everything? And even everything is not enough? So what we should do, should we stay the same way before our master and say, I am not worthy, just don't make any accounts with me, just never try to make the right, what do you call, I have some German words in my head, but don't worry. So you know what I'm saying. Don't make this bill even with me, because I will never pay for what I have. But the thing is that Jesus is telling us that God is not acting on us as a tax collector who is trying to get his. This is not why those talents that he is giving to us we have in our lives. They are for something different. And that different story with those 5, 3, and 1 talent, you know, that poor servant, the last one who has just digged a hole and put that talent in his backyard because he was scared that master will be back and will demand that talent, that huge piece of gold back. He never used that talent. So talents are there to use them. When God is giving us so much, He is giving us everything in order to use that. I think this is a good passage we have in today's, the first reading from the Corinthians about ox. You shall not muzzle an ox while it treads out grain. And we are not oxes, thanks be to God, but we are working in this world. We are working with what we have, with our lives, with all those talents we have. And those talents are for our own use. It's not like God just gave us something for them. Everything that we receive from God is also for us. But sometimes we really forget that all those people around us, they are in the same situation. And even if we owe something to each other, this is not comparable to what we owe to God. You know, the second amount of money that Jesus is speaking, that mere fraction, that was not actually even at that time and not even now a mere fraction. Jesus is telling that that second servant owed to his friend, the fellow servant, owed 100 denarii. This is a 3-month salary. I don't know how much people are making, but you can imagine 3 months salary. This is serious money without taxes and everything. Let us say if people are making, I don't know, $2,000 a month, some $3,000, some more, but this could be around $8,000, maybe $1,000. And if someone is owing you $8,000, well, you would have some sleepless nights thinking how to get that money back. But Jesus is telling us not about money, once again. Always, it's not about money. This is about our relationships, about how we treat our neighbors. If we are owing to God so much, those 10,000 talents, those 25 billion, that 8,000, they are, I cannot say nothing, but almost nothing. And yes, it's hard for us because we always think that this belongs to us. This is what we own. And mostly this is not about money. We all often think that we own those scares we have because other people hurt us. We own the bad feelings, the anger because other people are treating us badly. We own that, and we can act on that. We can repay, we can revenge, retaliation, everything is in our right because this is ours. My pain, my scars, my feelings. Sometimes we need to give that back to God, to our prayers, to everything that is happening in our lives, and trust in Him, because He who gave us everything, He can also handle all those small depths we have in between us. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to forgive smaller things. Maybe sometimes it's even easier to forgive something that is huge. But God is asking us to forgive everything. That story that we listened just now, this is the story that follows the question that Peter put it in front of Jesus. How often should I forgive my brother? And Jesus is telling to the Peter that this is a wrong question. There is no way how often. This is the question, or this answer is, how deep should you go in order to forgive your neighbor? And Jesus is telling you should go that deep where your true self is, to your heart. And if there is a lack of forgiveness, just remember how much you were forgiven by God. Just take the example from Him, because He who forgives us, He is also one who gives strength to forgive others. So maybe we don't owe someone 100 elephants or even $8,000, but there is lots to forgive, and there is lots to ask for forgiveness. And this is the day when Jesus encourages us to forgive. So may this forgiveness be with us today. Glory be to Jesus Christ.